Measure him against any of his contemporaries, and there's one thing that makes Bach stick out from all the rest. He didn't write an opera, not a single opera. And yet, at the time, opera was really the gold currency. It was the thing that established careers. It brought with it fame, it brought with it success, it brought with it a lot of money. And Bach would have none of that. In fact, he talked rather disparagingly of those little ditties that you could hear at the Dresden Opera. And yet, his music is intrinsically as dramatic, if not more dramatic, than that of any of the opera composers of the day. Vivaldi, Scarlatti, Telemann, none could match Bach in this respect. Only Handel came close. Everything Bach had learnt up to now, dramatic scene setting to underpin the gospel narration, and subtle musical power to convey contrition and remorse, was poured into his St. Matthew Passion, first performed at the Thomaskirche, Leipzig, on Good Friday, 1727. The St. Matthew Passion is even more atmospheric than the St. John. Lasting around 2.5 hours, it's even more monumental in scale, with a double choir and a double orchestra.
He speaks with the voice of someone whose belief is absolutely rock solid. Goes right to the roots of his being. He believes this, every word of this. It is true, it is completely true. And there's a solidity, a firmness to what comes through in the Passions that I've seen very rarely anywhere else.
Jesus sprach zu ihm, du sagst, doch sage ich euch, von nun an wird's geschehen, dass ihr sehen werdet des Menschen Sohn, sitzen zur Rechten der Kraft und kommen in den Wolken des Himmels.
You wonder, well, where is there room for Bach's own voice? It's difficult to answer, but I feel there are moments, there are chinks in the drama where you feel that Bach himself is very much present and very much making the decisions.
So you've got a crotchet to turn around completely 180 degrees from being an absolutely foul-mouthed mob into being contrite and responsible and tender. And bewildered. Who's hit you? We don't understand. Go.
The choir have to switch into being the community, the believers. And it's in that moment that I feel Bach is saying, this suffering is unbearable. We have to stop it. We have to show our sense of moral outrage.
The emotional center of the Matthew Passion is Erbarme dich, Peter's plea for forgiveness, having denied his Christ.
In comes the violin announcing Erbarme dich, and the violin, with no words at all, can convey, in a way that the human voice could not convey, this concentration of lamentation, of grief, of contrition, of utter abject horror, in a way, and yet taking on to a spiritual level, because the voice line of the violin becomes an agency of compassion and forgiveness. And that's before the singer's sung a note.